Hi, gang. Hello, hello. Welcome to Hudson Yards in New York City, the CNN world headquarters. Yeah, I continue to be here doing my program as build out continues back in Philly on a new television and radio studio. I'm probably only here for a couple more weeks because construction is coming along really well. The Saturday poll question at Smerconish.com, as teased on radio, should racial and ethnic identity categories should racial and ethnic identity categories be eliminated? Make sure you go vote today on the Saturday poll question. I'm really curious to see um, how that will turn out. Usually I have a pretty good feel, but in this case, I'm not so sure. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see which way the result goes. By the way, thank you to my friends at Parks Casino and Play Gun Lake. Summertime, the beach, the boat, the lake, the boardwalk. Enjoy casino action and sports betting wherever you are all summer long with the Bet Parks and Play Gun Lake apps. Baseball, tennis, world soccer matches, plus the pro golf tour as well. By the way, whenever I mention baseball, all I can think of is the interview this week with Jim Abbott. And remember, tomorrow night on ESPN is Southpaw, the special all about his life. Jim Abbott, born with one hand, nevertheless becomes an MLB player and throws a no-hitter at Yankee Stadium in 1993, and is just a hell of a guy. I was in a bar last night here in NYC. Yankee game is on. I got into a conversation with a Yankee sports writer who was not at the game, and we were talking all about Jim Abbott. Fun stuff. Everybody loves that story. Anyway, live betting is better on the BetParks app and the Play Gun Lake app. Bet individual player performances and game props as well. There's always another way for you to win on the BetParks Sportsbook and Casino app and the Play Gun Lake app. But by the way, for the benefit of those who are dialed in at this moment on YouTube, I don't know if any of you were able to get to the Stories and Cigars with Smerconish event, the one night of storytelling. Quick thumbs up, quick thumbs down. Interested if we do another one of those in the fall? Would you have interest in coming out and hearing me tell stories, some of which are true? Some of which are true. Yes. Alan, you like it. Jamal, you like it. Okay. Fabrizio, you like it. Corinne, okay. All right. Thank you, gang. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Back to the action. Did I tell you everything I needed to say about BetParks? No, I meant to say that you should go to betparks.com or playgunlake.com. Download the app right now. Enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You've got to be 21 and in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Maryland for BetParks, 21 and in Michigan for Play Gun Lake. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, so I am here at Hudson Yards. And by the way, the drill is, you want to be on camera?
That's fine.
Okay, so this is Emily. That's Emily. Hello.
Hello.
She is a Brown graduate. It's very impressive. It's very impressive. I always was dismissive of Brown. I'm like, oh, Brown, it's so liberal. They're so progressive. And they are. But then I took one of our sons there on a college tour, and I was so impressed. I was just so impressed. And like the old me would have deride the idea that you could take all of your classes pass fail.
Yes.
And that you don't have to take anything toward a major until your senior year. Is that fair? Like in your senior year, you could decide what you're going to major in.
No, well, there is open curriculum, and one of the great things about it, because I don't like math.
Open curriculum, she's saying, in case you can't hear her.
Yes, I don't like math or science, so I was like, okay, great, I can focus on humanities.
Right.
But if you pick a major like a science major, you have to have your required classes way before.
But
senior year.
how about this? You can do much more exploration at Brown than you could do anywhere else.
I took Arabic my first year.
You took Arabic. She said she took Arabic her first year. I mean, I remember having to somewhat game the system when I was an undergraduate at Lehigh, because I knew I wanted to go to law school. And so I could not have taken Arabic because I would have done poorly in Arabic, and it would have hindered my opportunity to get accepted to the law school of my choice. But I like the Brown model, is the point. Little commercial here for Brown. Okay, so why is Emily here? Because we're going through scripts. I like to make last-minute tweaks. And I'm going through the opening commentary for CNN this morning, which is, I'm really digging this commentary. And it's all about checking the boxes, checking the boxes. This is not Brown. This is Columbia. At the time that Ziran Mamdani, I want to get it just right on television. But this is what the form looked like when he applied to Columbia. And you've heard elements of the story about him and checking the box for Asian and checking the box for African American, Black and African American. Is that what it says? Yeah, Black or African American. So he checked Asian. And by the way, he's got a right to check Asian. And he also checked Black or African American. Some people have a beef with that. But he was born in Uganda. And then he wrote in Ugandan on the form as well. I think there's a lot to criticize him for, in my opinion, but not the way that he filled out the form. And it speaks to a much larger issue, which is this now obsolete? Because of the diverse nature and composition of the United States, should this type of what am I saying? Characterization fall by the wayside? Because we are just so diverse. And by the way, you know that I love genealogy, I love ancestry, I love exploring my own familial roots. I'm all about that. So I'm not looking for us to forget where we come from. But I think that in the field of college admissions and employment, hiring, et cetera, these four, and the census, it's just damn near impossible. A couple of statistics, if I may. I had William Fry on the program. He's a demographer from Brookings a year ago. It is one of my podcast features, and it is worthy. Really, really great. 2 demographers inside of a week, one from Brookings and one from Pew Research. And they were just chock full of great data. In the case of Fry, let me just hit you with something. He told me that with continued intermarrying, pardon me if I'm covering up the microphone, with continued intermarrying, it's become harder for kids to identify with a particular race. He expected that this would mean, this is coming from my commentary today, that this would mean diminished attention paid to race, which would become less important politically and socially. Looking at the present trends, it's a foregone conclusion that by mid-century, actually by the 2040s, it'll come before 2050, no ethnic group will comprise a majority of the United States, a designation currently held by non-Hispanic whites. Indeed, that's already the case for those who are here under the age of 18, and for the states of Hawaii, California, New Mexico, Texas, Nevada, Maryland, and Georgia. And if you go back to just the year 2000, there were only 3 such states. It's not as if like there's this wave coming and we're going to be majority minority. Those who are here, who are 18 and younger, are already majority minority. And when they reach the age of procreation, the likely consequence is that that's what the country will look like. And meanwhile, through attrition, we're losing older white guys like me. So the population that's older skews white. The population that's younger is much more diverse. And it just becomes really difficult to check those boxes or to have enough boxes. I said on radio that I recently had a routine physical with a new medical provider. And when I had to fill out the form, it was comical to see how many choices there were. I tried to replicate my own experience. Because I'm now a patient, I couldn't go back and get access to my own form. But I did find a form for Mount Sinai online that I think is the same as the one that I filled out. And the Mount Sinai form had 123 choices. Anyway, I saw the story about Mamdani and I thought there's a much larger issue here, and that's what I want to address. So that's the background on today's poll question, which asks, is it time to get rid of these boxes? And I believe that it is. I believe that it is. Now, that's got significant ramifications for affirmative action. What might some say in opposition to what I just offered? They might say, well, how are you going to enforce discrimination laws? How are you going to give voice to people if you don't know how many there are? What is the impact for representation in government, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Legitimate issues. But at some point, these forms no longer make sense. And I think that point is now. All right, let me just go back to my commentary with Emily. We were halfway through this. In 2000, there were only 3 such states. All right, ready? Further backing this up, according to Pew Research, nearly 1 in 5 newlyweds in their 30s in the US had a spouse of a different race or ethnicity in 2015, compared to only 8% in 1980. Separately, Pew found that 1 in 7 infants in the US was multiracial or multi-ethnic in 2015, nearly triple the share from 1980, and presumably that number is even larger today. All of this is leading to widespread confusion when it comes to filling out forms. As the New York Times, responding to Mamdani's situation, put it earlier this week, for many Americans, checking a box won't do. The story goes on to note, what Mamdani went through reflects, quote, reflects experiences and decisions that have exasperated people across the country. Moreover, while some complain that institutions ask the wrong questions, they also note forms can demand too much information. Nothing brings all of this home like a trip to the doctor. Medical intake forms today often have seemingly endless racial and ethnic choices. Here's a typical one from Mount Sinai. There are 123 choices for ethnicity. That's not a form, that's a Cheesecake Factory menu. Good line. I can't take credit for it. Then there's this. Then there's the census. First, they ask if you're a Hispanic Latino, Latino of Spanish origin. If the answer is yes, that's just the start. Does that mean Mexican, Mexican-American, Chicano, or Puerto Rican, or Cuban, or another group such as Salvadoran, Dominican, Colombian, or numerous others, most of which are included under et cetera. After that, you're broken up into white, which could be German, Irish, Italian, Egyptian, et cetera. That's some kind of et cetera. Or Black or African American, which could be Jamaican, Haitian, Nigerian, Somali, and another continent spanning, et cetera, or American Indian or Alaska Native, where they ask which tribe you belong to. And the next category includes Asians, Chinese, Japanese, Filipino, all with Pacific Islanders, Native Americans, Samoans, and so on. At a certain point, it starts to feel like an Abbott and Costello routine. We're broken up into so many races, ethnicities, and subcategories, you might start to wonder what's the point. And with so many multi-ethnic babies, it's possible the majority might soon throw up their hands and check some other race, which is sort of what happened with Mamdani when he applied to college. Just a little bit more. I like this. This is really good. I mean, I've been working on it for 3 days, but this is sort of the final read through here just for last minute tweaks. It's easy to mock his decision to check boxes claiming he was both Asian and Black. Was he trying to game the system? Certainly others have. But in his case, he was Indian by ethnicity, Ugandan by birth, American by nationality. How was he supposed to express that? The real issue is not Mamdani's identity, it's the form itself, an antiquated framework that assumes race and ethnicity are cleanly divisible, easily checked, self-evident categories. In reality, they are often murky, overlapping, and deeply personal. For many Americans today, selecting race or ethnicity on a bureaucratic form feels less like self-identification and more like forced misrepresentation. We've entered an era in which these categories are less descriptive and more distorting. They may once have served a purpose to monitor disparities, to promote affirmative action, but now they risk becoming arbitrary and reductive. When someone like Mamdani is asked to pick just 1 or 2 labels from a fixed menu, it says more about our outdated system than it does about him. This is going to come off as being defensive of him. I guess I am defensive of him in this instance, but not when he speaks of, seizing the means of production and expanding intifada, globalizing intifada, except that, which is a whole other story with which I disagree strongly. Okay. To promote affirmative action, but now they risk becoming arbitrary and reductive when someone like Mamdani, okay. We are measuring the country of today with the yardstick of yesterday. The labels were designed for a binary or at best tripartite, that's going to be a word I'll stumble over, tripartite racial world, Black, white, sometimes Asian, in an America that no longer exists. We're now a nation of multiple origins, mixed ancestries, and fluid identities. We should embrace it. It certainly shouldn't scare us. After all, the U.S. motto, going back to our founding, is e pluribus unum, out of many, one. But maybe it's time to admit clinging to check boxes that can't capture that complexity may do more to confuse than to clarify. All of which brings me to the poll question today at Smerconish.com. Should racial and ethnic identity categories be eliminated? I say yes, but I'm still clinging to my roots and I'm interested in my, Montenegrin, Calabrese, and Carpatho-Rusyn roots. Okay, thank you, gang. Hope you enjoyed let's say so long to Emily. Emily, thank you for all your help over
Absolutely.
there, the pride of Brown University. I'll see you all on CNN soon, I hope. Bye-bye.